This FBI finale changes everything. A lone suspect turns into a full-scale terror network. The city is minutes from disaster, and Jubal Valentine faces every parent's worst nightmare when his son is caught in the chaos. Episodes 9 and 10 weren't just a case, they were a warning. Here's what really happened in FBI Season 8's explosive fall finale. And the ending you might have missed. It grabs you immediately and refuses to let go. From the very first minutes of Episode 9, Lone Wolf, there's a feeling that something is wrong. Not just another case, not another routine arrest. This feels bigger, darker, and more personal. And by the time the 2-hour event is over, the team is pushed to its absolute limit. So let's break down exactly what happens, step by step, and explain why this finale works as well as it does. Episode 9, Lone Wolf, the setup before the storm. The episode opens with Tyler Valentine, and that alone is a red flag. Whenever a Dick Wolf show opens by focusing on a main character's family member, you know danger's coming. Tyler's trying to figure out his future, talking about school, purpose, and what kind of person he wants to be. It feels quiet, almost too quiet. At the same time, the FBI team is alerted to a growing domestic terror threat, online radicalization, encrypted communications, and a man who appears to be acting alone. A lone wolf. But very quickly, Maggie and OA realize this guy isn't as isolated as he seems. As the investigation unfolds, the suspect is tracked down, and what should be a routine arrest turns deadly. The man is killed during a confrontation with law enforcement, and at first, it seems like the threat has ended. But it hasn't, because what the team uncovers next changes everything. The bigger picture emerges. Evidence from the suspect's devices reveals he wasn't acting alone. He was part of a larger network, what will later be known as the Wolf Pack. This group believes society needs to be torn down through chaos and fear, and they're planning something massive: bomb components, targets across the city, and a coordinated attack designed to overwhelm law enforcement. Meanwhile, Tyler, trying to prove he's not just a kid anymore, starts filming things around him. He's alert, observant, and completely unaware that his curiosity is about to put him directly in the crosshairs. That decision becomes the emotional and narrative pivot of the entire two-parter. The cliffhanger that changes everything. As the FBI closes in on the terror cell, chaos erupts. An explosion rocks the city. People scatter. Panic spreads. And in the middle of it all, Tyler's caught in the blast zone. The episode ends with Jubal receiving every parent's worst nightmare. His son has been gravely injured. Lone Wolf doesn't give you resolution. It leaves you suspended in fear. And then Episode 10 hits. Episode 10, Wolf Pack. Everything explodes. Wolfpack begins exactly where Episode 9 left off, with Tyler in critical condition and Jubal barely holding himself together. Doctors explain the severity of Tyler's injuries. Nothing is guaranteed. There could be complications, long-term damage, worse. Jubal tries to stay professional, but this is the moment where his two worlds collide: his job and his family. And for the first time in a long while, he can't control either. The city on the brink. While Jubal is at the hospital, the rest of the team is racing against the clock. The Wolfpack's plan becomes horrifyingly clear. Multiple coordinated attacks meant to cripple infrastructure and cause mass casualties. One of the biggest threats? The Holland Tunnel. If they succeed, it won't just be an explosion, it'll be a catastrophe. The FBI begins evacuating civilians while racing to identify the remaining operatives. Communications are jammed, power flickers. The city starts to feel like it's slipping into chaos. This is FBI at its biggest scale. Tyler's video changes the case. Here's where Tyler's earlier reckless decision suddenly becomes critical. The video he recorded before the explosion captures something no one else noticed: a suspect's face, a location detail, a moment that helps the team connect the dots. That footage leads Maggie and OA to a new suspect, the wife of the man killed in Episode 9. And suddenly, everything makes sense. She wasn't just grieving. She was continuing the mission. The true mastermind revealed. As the team digs deeper, they uncover the real architect of the attacks, the younger brother of the original suspect, driven by rage over a government standoff years earlier. This isn't random violence. This is revenge, and he's willing to take as many innocent lives as possible to make his point. The FBI closes in, but time is running out. Jubal faces the impossible. Back at the hospital, Jubal reads Tyler's college essay, and it breaks him. Tyler writes about wanting to be brave, wanting to help people, wanting to be like his dad. In that moment, Jubal realizes Tyler wasn't being stupid. He was trying to matter. That realization hits just as Jubal is pulled back into the case, because the team needs him. And lives are still at risk. The near twist that almost changes everything. As the final operation unfolds, Maggie notices something disturbing. One of the terrorists is using the same type of earpiece as the FBI. For a moment, it feels like there's a mole, a betrayal, someone on the inside. But FBI chooses a smarter route. The communications expert helping the Bureau isn't a villain, but he does benefit from the crisis. OA later points out that his company secures major government contracts afterward. It's not evil, it's opportunistic, and it feels painfully realistic. The final confrontation. The FBI stops the last attack just in time. Explosives are disarmed. The mastermind is taken down. The city is saved barely. The team is exhausted, shaken but alive. And then we return to the hospital. The ending explained why this finale works. Tyler survives. He's injured but stable, and that choice matters. FBI could have gone for devastation. Instead, it chooses hope without erasing the trauma that came before it. There's no cheap cliffhanger. No shocking death for shock value. No forced tease for the next episode. Just quiet relief. Final thoughts. Lone Wolf and Wolfpack succeed because they respect the audience. They tell a complete story. They raise the stakes without breaking the show. And they remind us why this team keeps fighting, even when everything is burning. This wasn't just a finale. It was a reminder that heroes aren't invincible. They're just willing to keep going anyway. Thank you for watching.